Are all those people still there?
Yes. Okay, good afternoon.
Format for typing the date if you want to type the date and not
Oh.
search on the calendar.
Okay.
You type it any way other than it won't accept it.
All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second session of this e-permitting system for CITES. Those who have missed the first session, this is the second session, and those who stayed on can stay on. You can do the questions and answer. There's not so many people in this session. I see only about 26 people online. What I wanted to do first is log out everywhere so that I can show you how to register. The first step to note is that we are going completely online with the CITES permitting system. So the current way that you are receiving your permits by hand or by paper that is signed and stamped is going to be removed or put under the desk somewhere. We are going to start applying for permits, export CITES permits online, and electronic permits are going to be issued. But in order for us to get there, we will request or require that we register facilities that are already registered under the manual system and migrate them into the electronic system. So that's the first step, is that here I'm trying to speak to breeders that must now migrate their current manual system to an electronic one. So today I'm going to take you through how to register on the system to become, so that you are eligible to apply for a permit and also eligible to apply for a registration for a commercial breeding facility, and also to take you through the process of registration so that you are able to add specimen under your registration and remove specimen and change the status of where that is. So that is the intention of this session, is to speak to the registration process. And in the future, we'll have another session later on in October to deal with everyone, because we've made a few changes on the system from the initial training that we have so that everyone is up to date. The first thing you must know is that this website that is required for you to issue permits or to apply for registration is the one that follows: www.eservices.gov.za. I'm trying to type it. My screen not showing. I'm not sharing my screen now. Huh? That's the website that you will be logging on to if you want to register your facility, or you want to apply for a CITES permit, or you want to log on and register for the first time. The website is currently active for registration, so that you are able to apply for permits or apply for registration, but is not active for the actual applicant. So when you're trying to apply, it won't allow you to apply, but you can register yourself so that you are able to apply in the future when it's open. So what I'm trying to communicate is that you can go onto the website and register yourself. If you are a province, stay away from the system, because we will register you. You don't register like a client. But if you are a client, you're going to apply for CITES permit or for registration, you can go on the website now and register yourself so that you are able to, in the future, to apply for permits. I think that's what I'm trying to communicate. So once you are on the website, the first thing you'll see is this. You'll see that there's a lot of other things. There's birth, parenting, health, education, land, agriculture. Those are the other services that this website will provide. What we will do is that we will be applying under environment. I think, let me say, click on log on and register. And then you click here, it says register. You can see my screen. Can I get an amen or something from online? I want to hear if there's people that are still here and they can hear me. Am I audible, clear, and you are still here with me?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And everyone knows how to use Teams. I don't have to take you through that too. So if you are able to use Teams and then you got question about how to raise your hand, let me show you quickly here because I know that some people don't know how to use Teams. I'm sure you can see my screen. If you want to raise a hand, you click on reactions and you click on the hand there, then it's raised. And then after you unmute here by the mic, you can speak. After I've identified you and I say you can speak, when you're done, you mute and you go back to the same reaction button and put your hand down. Okay. And if you want to chat or write something in the chat box, you can click on chat and I will see your text here and you can write whatever question you have manually. I know some people are also speaking on WhatsApp on the side. Anthony is here with me and Sandra. He will read the WhatsApp to us and then we can help. Some people are WhatsApping me. I can't do that on my side because I'll be speaking to the presentation. But if you have a question for me, you can literally send me that here. The session is being recorded. For the sake that you are able to come back to it and listen to what we spoke about and how we answered the question. And that's how the with. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the registration. So when you come onto the e-services website for the very first time, you need to register on the system as an applicant or as someone who's going to be using the system going forward. The first thing is that you must be registered as someone that's going to be able to apply for a permit or registration. You go into our website, you click on login or register, and then you click on register. Then it gives you signing up and details like you must consent to the terms and conditions of your registration and you consent to the policies that are attached to the website. This is to make sure that we understand your responsibilities and our responsibilities in terms of how we treat your information and that we are not allowed to send your information on to others so that they can advertise their whatever they are selling to you. And whatever. So it gives allowance for everyone. You can read the terms and conditions and you click on continue. And then it asks you for your name. You type in there. And your surname. And your ID number or passport. So to register, who's now unmuted by mistake? Someone is unmuted.
I think I'm closing the gate, but during the day the circuit lights.
Okay, I managed to mute them. Now you are registering for the first time. It says an ID number. It must be a real ID number. It has a verification for that. So you must put your real ID number or passport. If you are an international person, you don't have an ID number, you put a passport and then you click next. You can see it's got step 1 to step 5. Finish the registration. And then step 2, it asks for your cell phone number. You must use your cell phone number and the one that you are not going to lose or forget. And the email address the same. You must use the email address and the cell phone number that you're not going to lose or forget, because that's the only way for you, if you lose a password, for us to revalidate you to get back into the system. If you lose both of them, you are lost in limbo with your ID number for the longest of time. We might be able to help you, but it's not going to happen in a day or two. So you will be stuck with the systems of government to try and fix your registration. So please make sure that your ID number, your cell phone number, and your email address, one of them must always be something that you can actually get into and to restart your application or whatever, to change your password with. So use things that are relevant and you are able to come back to. That's the cell phone number. And you confirm your cell phone number is correct. This is very important because as your permit is being issued, it will send you an SMS or even an email so that your permit has been issued. So you need, these things are very important. Your email address, and then you must type in the village that you're from or the town. And then the password. The password is crucial in that it requires that you use almost the same verification test methods as the bank would. You would have your capital in the password. You must have a special character, an @ or an apostrophe or an slash as part of your password, a number and letters. So those three things must be in your password. Otherwise, it won't allow you to save that password. So make sure that your password has all those things, and then you press next, and then it will send you an SMS or an email with a code, which you are going to click onto the system, and then your account is verified, and then you are registered. Now that is the process of registration. Any question on registration? Please raise your hand. Any questions around registrations? Please raise your hand. Don't see no hand. I'm assuming some of you were here on the initial session. So the website, what happened now? The website is available online for you to use, and you can register. And if you are a province, you don't need to use this website. Please don't register. We will register you as part of the forms that we gave you through the training. So if you are a province, do not register yourself on the system. This is only for the stakeholders. Okay, so we are now going to treat this application as someone who has registered. So I'm going to go back into the system as someone who is registered on the system, as an applicant that went through the process that I just went through now. So this will be my password, and my email is Cips applicant. This is the name of the applicant. And when you log in for the first time, you'll notice that you'll be allowed to log in. This is going to be your name of your client, and then you're going to go under environment. You can see there's other things. Your permit is environment. And once you're on the website, you'll see that the website provides for other departments. Do not panic. This is not where you click because I'm in Free State, I must apply for my permit here. And where you click because I'm in the Eastern Cape, I must apply for my permit here. No, this permit application process is for the ordinances in the provinces that have ordinances for other species, not for registration in terms of CITES. If you're applying for a CITES permit, you will choose your authority within the application process that you have. So for now, you must apply under DFFE because CITES is a national department regulation. So this is a page where, as an applicant, I just wanted you to see the inbox of the applicant. So if you've applied for a permit in the past, your applications will be here. You see, for an example, so the applicant name is here, the date submitted, and the endorsement requested, the status of the application. So all these status are all the applications this applicant has applied for in the past. So you can see he has applied for a re-export permit. It says endorsement in progress, which means it's busy being endorsed. He has applied for a pre-conviction certificate, is a review in progress, still with the province being reviewed. So the applicant in his inbox is able to see all his CITES permits that he's applied for in the past. You can see this is a registration as an operation to breeding in Appendix 1 animals incubated for commercial purposes. He has applied for this permit. He has not submitted it yet. It says created. If it was submitted, it's going to say submitted. So the status of your application, where they are there in your inbox. So for the sake of this training, we will be going through the registration. You're accepting them now? We will be applying for a new registration for commercial purposes for CITES. So you will click on new application. CITES. And then it says CITES certificate permits registration. You'll click on registration. You're not applying for CITES permit. You are registering as a breeder.
Apologies,
see-
Paul.
Yes, sir.
Yes, apologies, man. I received a message where you say that you will start the next session 1:30.
Oh, okay.
So okay, I joined 4 minutes before
Late.
1:30. So
Do you think there are people that are still waiting? I must wait a bit.
no, I just asked because when I came on, you were already busy, and that was
Yes.
not according to the time agreed.
Okay, it's fine. I can wait. It's all right.
I don't know if you need to wait because it's already 2 minutes after 1:30. But I miss now,
Oh,
obviously,
okay.
something that you discussed with the team. I was not involved.
Don't worry, I'll show you just now. You must have missed just the registration part. We're not fine to the registration. I'll show you how to do that at the end. It's just when you register for the first time, I'll take you through that at the end. Don't worry about that part. So
Okay.
where we are now is when you are applying to register your facility. So I'll come back to, I'll just go back one slide. Don't worry about the initial part you missed. I can go back to that. It's an easy part.
Okay, carry
All
on.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You are mute. We can't hear you.
Speaking alone. Sorry. I've been speaking to myself for such a long time. I'm so depressed. Sorry about that. I'm back. Let me go. Let me go back again. What I'm saying is that once you log in, after you have registered, once you log in as an applicant, you will see that there is departments here from other departments. Do not click on this. These are not for registration of CITES. These are for ordinances, regulations, and some of the top species. You must use the Department of Environmental Affairs when you are applying for that permit. So you must click on DFFE. So within your inbox, once you log on under DFFE, you'll see all the other permits that you've applied for, the previous permits you've applied for. But when you log in for the first time, this block will be empty because you wouldn't have applied for anything as a client. So this is one client that has applied for a lot of permits. And you can see here that this is the type of permit is applied for, and this is the status of that permit that is applied for. If you have applied for a CITES permit or an export permit, the status is created. It means that he has applied, but he has not finished the application. It's not submitted to the provinces. Here is a export permit that it says recommendation in progress. So the permit is still in progress to being issued. And then here is a permit, import permit that is requiring an endorsement. So you can always check where your permits are on the system, and you don't have to be calling the provinces every day asking for where the permits are. So I'm going to apply for a registration for an Appendix 1 basis because this training specifically is to address the breeders of Appendix 1 specimen so that they can register on the system. So we are going to click on CITES. That's what we're applying for. You'll see on the system that you can apply for a certificate. There's a different list of certificates. You can apply for a permit. There's different list of permits when you're applying for. For this, we're looking for registration. Under registrations, you have a couple of registrations that you need to look at, depending on what we're doing. For the sake of this training, because we want to deal with the breeders of Appendix 1 species, especially African grey guys, is that you must have, you will look here on the list. You have national registration for Appendix 1 species for non-commercial purposes. And you have a national operation of breeding facilities for captive breeding for commercial purposes. So we're going to go click on the commercial purposes one. because these are the guys that are applying to register with the Secretariat for African Grace to export the African Grace for commercial purposes. Before you can continue registering, you will see that it has a couple of things there. The notes that you must note according to your application, where your institute is, who's the issuing authority, it has the constitution, it's got the number, the act itself that gives us the power, the CITES regulations are there, you can click on that. The permit fees are there of how much an import permit costs. For the sake of this process, remember, registrations do not require a permit fee. There is no permit fee required. I repeat, there is not a permit fee for registration. This process is to take you from manual systems that you have to electronic. It's not a process to re-register you or to reassess you. We're trying to take the people that are currently registered and they already have certificates under the manual system into an online system so that they're able to apply for their CITES export permit using the system. When we go live on the 1st of January, if you are not online and your facility is not registered on the system, your exporter will not be able to apply for an export permit because all the ring numbers of the African Grace in South Africa will be online. Will be online and under someone's facility. So when your exporter applies for an export permit, you will need to put in that ring number and the facility number, and the system will do the background of that particular facility to ensure that we are exporting base that are coming from a legal place that are registered online. So we need you to go through this process. Initially, on the November to this end December, to add your individual facilities into the system. So it's almost like a migration of you from manual to electronic. What we will ask the province that is not a re-registration. So we're not trying to inspect you again because you're already inspected. You already have the certificate from the provinces that shows you that you're resident in that province. We just want to migrate you from that manual system to online. So we're not going to be reassessing you and doing more inspections once you are trying to apply for registration. I think that is clear. Any question on that, please? All right. So on the first step, I showed you how to register yourself. On the second step is that now you're applying for registration. The very important thing on this stage is that you must apply and select your authority. So if your breeding facility that you're trying to register for commercial purposes or re-register or migrate, you must click on the authority that will be issuing your permit. So you must click here and select if you're applying for Cape Nature, if you're applying at the department, which is unlikely, if you're applying KZN and all that. So my issuing authority is Limpopo because that's the one that's available for this training session. Please remember to save, because if you save, you always come back to this where last you are. So if you get bombed out or ESCOM hits you or the internet breaks, if you haven't saved, you will start from the beginning. If you have saved, you can continue where you have stopped. If you have questions, please raise your hand. I've got someone looking out for their hands. Even the provinces are allowed to raise their hands here and ask a question if there's something they're not understanding. Okay, there's a hand. Who?
What was
Okay, Dolph Plute. Yes, you can go ahead.
Yes. What should we put in at authority? So
You will choose
from a
your
list.
province. Yeah, that's where you choose the province where you are registered in or where you want to register. So if you are in the Cape Town, your registration will be you in that authority. You drop down, you click on the province that you are. Yeah, it's Limpopo. Then I save. So if you know you are in Northwest, you drop down, you choose the correct department that you.
Okay.
So KZN, One Life, Free State, whatever. So you choose the province where you are registered under. So this is to ensure that the application that you are applying for is routed to the right authority.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any more question on that? All right. So I want you to imagine this application form that I'm about to take you through as an Excel spreadsheet with the different tabs like tab 1, tab 2, or sheet 1, sheet 2 on an Excel spreadsheet, Excel table. If you look at the bottom of the Excel spreadsheet, it's always a sheet 1 or sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4. This program is developed in a similar fashion. There are different sheets that you must go through when you apply. There's always sheet 1, which is the applicant, sheet 2, the owner, sheet 3, the manager, sheet 4, there's facility, species, inventory, facility, procedure, reference, messages, attachment, history. For your application to be complete, you must ensure you have completed each one of this sheet before you can consider pressing this button of submit. So you must go through all this sheet. I am going to go through the sheets with you together now. So this is applicant. The applicant information is your information as the applicant. That initial information that you put in when you are applying to register on the system so that you can make this kind of applications. So I'm looking here what I might be missing. So you can drop down here that you're an organization type, you're organ of state, or you are a non-government organization or not applicable, or private owned company.
Breeders do have a name for their breeding facility.
So you can type in here name of your organization. Then you save this applicant. So this information will be automatically put in here for you that you've logged in under. That's the applicant. The owner. So sometimes the facility is owned by someone else than the applicant who's applying. So you can click on same as applicant. And then it automatically fills in that information if the applicant is the same as the owner. If it's not, you can unclick that and then type in the name of the owner. So you get an option on whether to type in the name of the owner, or if it's the same as the applicant, you click here, same as applicant, it goes in there. Then I save. Remember, saving saves you time for later challenges if something happens. So remember to save before you move on. The manager, again, the manager of the facility, of the breeding facility, is it the same as the owner or the same as the applicant? You can click here. You see, say same as owner or same as the applicant. So if the owner is different, you click here. If the same as applicant, you click there. It doesn't really matter. It's in this case the same. So you click here. And the information is auto. But if the manager is different, you can type his details in here. The capacity is the manager, and I press save. Now the manager's detail is in here. I move on to my next tab. My next tab is facility, is the name of the facility. So you write the name of your facility. And then you put in the physical address. And the date that it was established. So they say that you must type in the year first if it was established in 2012. And then you move on to, you say dash 03-07. And then there is the date of the facility. And then you save. So that's my facility saved. My species, this is very important. That's where you add your species that this facility that you are registering are going to be under. Because this is a commercial purposes registration, I'm going to add one species. I'm going to add only the African gray. But if you are applying for non-commercial, you know that you can add other species. You just have to continue adding them here. So when you add one species is VC something. So you, very importantly, the system does not like these common names. we must agree that we all gonna use the scientific name of the species that we're dealing with. So there is my African grey. So if I was applying for non-commercial purposes, which is the same form and same as everything here, I would simply add another species here and add the next scientific name of the species.
ARA. ARA. Appendix 1 macaws.
These are the macaws. So if I was applying for non-commercial purposes, I would have attached this as another addition to my species list. You see that? So this is going to be the species that I'm registering for. But because I know for this particular purpose of this application, I'm applying for commercial purposes, and I only have one I don't have proof of legal acquisition to apply for macaws, so I'm going to use the African grey only. But please add the species, next step of species inventory, if you have not added it here. So for non-commercial, add all your species that are in Appendix 1 here, and then you can end it under species inventory. For the purpose of this training, we're going to use this for the purposes. Therefore, adding these African greys only, and if you want to add others, you add them there next. So I'm going to move to the next. We've got a hand. Who's the hands for? Philip, you can shoot.
If I am a new applicant, do I add all the birds I have, or do I only add those that are CITES birds?
This is a CITES process. If CITES one registration process. If you've got other birds, this is not about your provincial breeding registration. This is about your CITES birds only. And this is about CITES birds that are intended for international trade.
Okay.
So
thanks.
if you have birds that you want to be trading locally, you don't need to take them through this process. These are the birds that you are interested in internationally trading in them only.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Or if you supply exports.
Yeah, or if you are a supplier to exporters.
Okay, but if you're a supplier, then you only put on those birds that are CITES birds.
CITES birds for export purposes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to move on to the inventory. The next tab, you just saw the tab that I showed you. You add the birds that are going to be now in your inventory. You cannot add something in your inventory that's not added under species under your facility. So you need to have a species added here, then you can add the species inventory there. So for those guys with 500 pairs of African greys, this is the painful part, because you'll be adding each bird under your facility at a time onto your stock list. So how do you add a bird under your stock list? This is what I'm going to take you through. You add bird number 1, you press add. It says scientific name. It gives you only one option, the option of the bird that you're trying to breed, to register. This is this African grey. And then you have to disclose or indicate the enclosure number where the bird is kept. So it won't allow you to register if you don't put the enclosure number. So please put the enclosure number where these birds are. We are fully aware that your enclosure number changes, but for the sake of the first time registrations, you must put the enclosure number in there. Enclosure number 77, you must indicate if this bird was acquired or bred. So I'm going to say acquired. And then the year that it was acquired, I acquired it in 1987. And the year that it of first breeding, so it bred for me for the first time in 2001. The gender of the animal, I have an option for not applicable and unknown, just in case you don't know because it's too young. So I'm going to put a male. The status is a very important part. You're indicating if this bird is a breeding stock for you, or you have donated it or exported or sold it or donated it. So for the sake of this registration, because I am registering for the first time, I'm going to click this is my breeding stock male. Where does it come from? Was it sourced in the wild? Was it captive bred, pre-convention, or unknown? If you don't know where it came from. So it's wild, so it came from DRC Congo. The origin, it was purchased. And you can click on other, was it donated or imported? Or let's say imported, maybe I have an import permit. And generation, I don't know. I know that is wild. Then, under the same animal that you're trying to add, you can put in the marking. Oh, but I want to start here first. You can actually add an import permit. I just said this animal of mine was wild and it was imported. I can here say, oh, I still have the import permit. And I come here and say, I've got permits. And I click on browse. And whatever document you are trying to add must be on your computer in order to add it. You add, you upload, and you add it. I say open. And there's the animal that I've just added, the permit, the import permit, because I said this thing came from an import permit. If you have an invoice, you have any other evidence that shows that you legally acquired that animal, you can attach it under that. It's not mandatory. You may attach it if you have it. Species marking, this is the mandatory button. You must add a marking to that animal in the breeding stock. So it's a ring number and the permit number is 3458789. That's the ring number. We are going to make this ring number case sensitive and space sensitive. So there's no duplicates by mistake where someone did not put a cap and it's a T and someone didn't put a space. So it must be a 1 number. So you can add any other characters to this. It doesn't have to be 1. Then you add your bed. There is my first bed. Oh, I forgot to add the marking. At the moment you can. Add.
Ring.
Oh, sorry, I didn't select the ring and press add. Okay, there's the ring number. If you have information about the mother's marking, the father's marking, or you have breeding records, you can add them. So you can put the father's marking and select it was a ring number and add the mother's marking here. If you know the father's marking, you select them, you can add. This is not mandatory, but if you know and you are able to make that information available, you can add them under each bed that you are adding them there. And if you have any breeding records, you can add the breeding records of that thing. Or you can say that bed of mine was bred for me 3 babies, and this is the breeding records of that particular bed that you are adding. So this is dependent on you, and if you have that information, then I can add, and it's okay. So this is my first animal in my breeding stock. If I want to add the next animal, I do the same. I say add, and I go the same through. Still this animal, and it was bred. This one, it was bred for me in 2018. The year of first breeding was in 2020. And the gender is a female. The status is that it is my breeding stock. The source is that it's captive bred. And the origin is that I've self-bred. The generation is F1. And I'm going to go straight to the species marking. I'm going to say it is a ring number, and I add the ring number there, and then I press add, and I press OK. Enclosure. I didn't put the enclosure number, there's a question online. Enclosure for 89, and I press OK. Who's the person? Okay, there's a question in the chat. There's a question asked and answered. It's already answered. CITES base only, yes. The question is about, is this about CITES and CITES base only? Yes, you are correct. This process is only and for CITES registered Appendix 1 beds only. Okay, so this is my second bid. So my third bid, same thing, add, and I go through the process. And and I say it was acquired, and I indicate it was acquired in 1987, and its first breeding was in 2008. We have indicated that we're going to get a button that says not applicable, just in case the bird didn't breed. The gender is a male, and the status is breeding or other. It doesn't have to be breeding stock, which means the baby. I'm going to write here my 2022 babies.
No, you can't say it's a baby, you acquired it.
Yeah, but yeah, I know, but they're being too practical. Captive, oh, yes, I bought it captive. Origin is purchased and is an F1. And then I add the marking is 0999999. And then I say it's a ring number, and I add the bird, and I say okay. Enclosure field, so I didn't put again. Remember, it's important that you add the enclosure, and if you have the mother marking, you can add here the mother's marking. If you have the father's marking, you can add and any breeding records of that bird that you are in. So well. Okay, that's my third African grey. Now you've seen that that's how you're going to be adding your African greys to your facilities until you've got all your breeding stock in record. Are we on the same page? Yes, you can. Who's the hand? Dolph, you can ask a question.
Yes, if I put in the mother or the father's markings, is it gonna show on the father's report, or must I put it in there as well?
Is it gonna show where?
In the breeding records of the father or the mother.
Oh, you mean automatically on the father
Yes.
side? No. It's not gonna do that. You have to add the father separately onto the system on your breeding stock. Are we understanding each other?
Yes. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, you still need to add the father separately under his own marking on your breeding list. It's not automatic that because you've added him, then automatically that he gets into your register. You must still enter each bird on your register and see. Well, you see what I mean?
Okay. Maybe
Yes.
where it comes from is that in the Switzerland application, there's a question that asks how many females.
Paul, request the people to put their computers on the silent because there's a lot of interference.
I'm gonna mute everyone. I think they're just confused. Please mute your mics. I've muted everyone now, and please switch off your cameras, please. Any mayor you have floor.
On your inventory, does it show your enclosure number?
Yes, so at the point of registration, you will put in the enclosure numbers.
Yes.
So let me go back to the site.
But it didn't show yours.
I can give some advice there. If a breeder wants to see the enclosure number on this list, then
Yes,
they can
enclosure
add
number.
the enclosure number there by details. Then it will show on that list.
What do you mean on the list?
On
Oh.
your inventory.
Oh, you
list.
mean here?
Yeah, if you want to see.
Am I still unmuted? Yes. So maybe it's still coming. Can you see my screen? Is it full mode? Why other people are seeing funny things? Can you see my screen? Can someone say something online?
Yes, we can see your screen.
You can see a full screen.
Yes.
Okay, so you just click on your computer. I think you must have double click on it. All right, so what Anthony is saying is that the ring number appears here. If you want to see under what enclosure that bed is in, you can simply click on that enclosure number and say view on that bed, on that ring number. You will see the enclosure number here. But you can also repeat it here by pasting it here, not pasting it, and typing it under comments or detail. And then it appears under detail. So if you want it like that on your record, you can do that. Do you understand what I mean? So if you want to see it here without clicking on the actual ring, that this is enclosure number under detail. So you can write anything here. You can say enclosure number and put the enclosure number there.
We don't talk about enclosures. We
Or you
talk
can
about
say
cages.
cage number, whatever makes you happy. So that it appears on your inventory automatically if you want to see it there. If you want to see it here, you know what I'm saying? But if you want to see it like on this one, I didn't put the cage number. It's going to be on the enclosure number here when you click on the bed that you're looking for. And I'm sure that you can change the cage number if you want to, as you in your inventory later on a later stage. So is everyone comfortable about how to add an individual bed when you're applying for your registration? Silence means consent. No one is having a problem, and I think we are happy then. So I'm going to move you to the next step because I'm registering for the first time, or I am just uploading my facility onto the system. So I'm migrating from a manual system to an electronic system. Remember your current registered facilities, you went through this application form. You'll see it ask questions like this: facility facility to house and care for current expected stock. You can just add a copy of that registration that you've already done under that. And type attached. When you edit. It's not adding. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, there you go. There you go. A big star. Okay, and then you can move on to the next question. Number of breeding beds in enclosure. These are the typical questions that were in your original application form. So you can put in C attached and attach something. So for the sake of this exercise, I'm not going to type all of this. This is the same thing that you have done. If you have done incubation and all of that, then you can either cut and paste it into this form from the original form that you already completed in your registration, or you can attach the form, the application on that. This is just to migrate you into this electronic format. Procedures, again, this is something that you already done. Strategies, explanation how the operation is carried out is either you cut and paste or you attach the thing. Then I save. Let me save before I lose things. Remember, when you move to the next step, please remember to save. You don't want to cry when you have to start everything again. And then procedures is there, everything there. And then references, you can type the references here and you save or upload whatever document you want to upload.
What sort of references do you expect?
Those are scientific references to the document that you've been working with. That's what you get in the application. So you can say not applicable if you don't have any references. Messages, this is what you write to your management authority, like the usual message, please note this was approved and is for migration into new system, new online system. So the province already knows that you are already registered with them. They are not going to reassess you. They are simply moving your stockpile that now on an Excel spreadsheet or on a paper somewhere, on a PDF format somewhere into your online system so that you're able to apply for payment. So that's the message you can write. And please make sure if you are not applying for the first time, you're already registered, you already have a certificate, attach that certificate that you already have. So the province can see from your attachments. So I'm gonna move on to my next step. So I've written my message, I've attached my references, I've dealt with the procedure, history, species inventory, I've added my stock list and my ring numbers. And now I'm going to attach the documents that will ensure that the provinces don't ask me too many questions and then they can approve my. So what must I attach? Proof of legal acquisition. Important. So what is proof of legal acquisition is whether you have a invoice, an affidavit, or any certificate that you have received in the past. So if you have already been approved and you have already been assessed and inspected and you've got a certificate, and the only reason you're doing this is because you want to be migrated, you attach that under proof of legal acquisition. So the language says proof of legal acquisition, and then I say POQLA, proof of legal acquisition, and I attach it. There's my proof of legal acquisition. So I think I am done. I'm going to press submit. I want to send this to the province. And it says the title of the manager is not complete. And I was not doing that fucking thing anymore. I go to the title of the manager is a advocate, attorney. Then I save. And I go to attachments and I say submit. Okay, so it highlights the documents that are missing in my application. So I didn't attach my ID, I didn't attach proof of legal acquisition, or I didn't attach a proof of payment. So I will come here and say add proof of payment. We know that registration do not require payment, as a requirement for proof of legal or for attachments. But for now, because I want to submit, I will require to do this. Amazing. The government order. What do I want to add now? It says proof of legal acquisition and proof of payment and ID. So I go with my ID and then I put in my ID. File path. Click here. I add the ID. Please remember, the system does not read the documents attached. The provinces who are assessing or checking your payment will read the documents attached. So if I ask for you to add an ID, you add your birth certificate or you add your driver's license, the system won't reject your application. It is the province that's going to check your attachments against what is required that's going to reject that. So the fact that you have clicked it and you have attached something does not mean that you have attached that. The province still has to apply their minds, open the attachments to ensure that you've attached the correct attachments. I save. I think I have done a lot of work to get my application ready. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning to make sure that everything is okay with my application. I'm going to go back to applicant details. I look if I'm not missing any information. Owner details, I'm checking again as a tab. Manager details, I check again. Facility details, I check my facility and the date of establishment. My species is the correct one. I check my inventory. I go through my list. I'm happy with the species that are in my inventory. The facilities and the information for the registration, the references, my message to the managing authority, my attachments I'm happy with. I think I am ready to submit my application to my management authority. I press submit. And then it gives me a notification that I must declare that I'm the applicant with my ID number and under which act that I'm applying for and the regulations that applies. If I agree with the declaration, I can press agree. and the application is created and submitted to the management authority. Question online. Can we have, who's the person? Chat box. When may I apply for a new application? What does that mean?
You need to register yourself as a bid.
Yeah, when they haven't.
So Philip, can you unmute and ask your question directly so that we have more understanding? I can see your question online. I'm not understanding what you mean when. Are you meaning when is the application starting? When is
No.
the system going to be open?
Now, I do have a bird and it's not registered for CITES as yet. So when can I
Are
make
you
an
like
application?
one parrot? What do you mean you have a bird? Are you like a owner of a parrot, like one bird?
Yes.
No, I'm not. You are fine. You don't need to register. You're not an exporter, né?
No, I'm not. I don't export.
It's just
I
your
have
bird.
2 birds, but the one is registered, the other one is not registered. So I want to apply for him for a CITES certificate.
No, you don't require to register because you are not an exporter. So your birds are for your own keeping, eh?
No, the babies that they're going to have, I want to sell to the exporter.
Okay.
So I don't need a permit. Thank you.
No, then you need a permit. If you are going to export, you're gonna need to register with your management authority. So
Okay,
you
so
are
when
you,
can I
you
apply?
usually. So my understanding with your situation, you are you've got 2 beds in your own house. You are a non-commercial exporter, breeder.
Yes, I'm a breeder.
Yes, so your registration will fall under the non-commercial registration, and the system will be open for everyone to register for commercial and non-commercial around November. And we will inform you when we do that. We will have another session somewhere in October for everyone, including those who are going to be applying for CITES permit. The idea now is to show you how to register so you can go through the registration process. And that system is going to be open for only those who want to register. For someone like you, you will be applying for non-commercial. You saw on that list of registrations, there are a couple of registration types. Your kind of registration is going to be non-commercial registration, and you will be applying for those 2 African greys as non-commercial. And any offspring that you will have to report them and add them to your inventory in order for them to qualify to be exported. So your question about when it will be opened in November and December, and for the rest of the time that the settlement goes online in January. So that's when.
Okay, so I have another question. What is the difference between commercial and non-commercial?
You are not an exporter, so you must not worry about that. The commercial side is that the exporter will be able to sell to an importer that is going to resell that bird.
Okay, so
Né?
I'm not
So,
commercial.
no, you're not commercial.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the purpose of the non-commercial is for the exporters to worry about. Don't worry about yourself as someone who is breeding in South Africa, especially if you only have 2 birds. You qualify for importers that want to establish breeding facilities and not commercial facilities. I'm going to not even go deeper into that one because we can be here for the whole day just explaining that difference. But you will require to register as a non-commercial because you only have 2 beds, and those beds must be reported on your facility and added if you're going to be able to sell them to an exporter. So please remember that. So you have now submitted your application to the province and it is waiting to be assessed. I'm going to log out as an applicant. I'm going to log in as a supervisor Limpopo, just to show you what he sees on the side. So this will be the province that are also online that are going to be receiving your applications to migrate you from manual to electronic, what they will get. This is the application. It says in the supervisor's inbox, it says a registration has been submitted. I can see when he applied. As the first person who received the application, I'll open it.
Sometimes. It goes.
No, you mean it might be stuck in that.
Yes, yes. When you open it,
You think it's that? No, it's not. It's just slow. Come. It's on strike. Okay. I don't know what to do anymore. Doesn't want to do anything. Okay, let's leave that anyway. All right, I wanted to show you what happens on this side, but unfortunately my system is misbehaving. But the bottom line is that the province will receive your application through a system like this, and they will be able to process it to the next person and the next person as it goes along the approval line. What is important for you to note is that the officials that are dealing with this, they receive your application in the very same manner that you would do in your own inbox as a client. And after your registration is issued, it will go back into your inbox with the issued certificate. What I am imploring the provinces is that all these applications that are going to be coming in when we open the system in November and December, let's quickly push them through for registration, because they are not for the sake of being reassessed. It's just to migrate them from manual to electronic. So they will process them internally quickly and will give you your same numbers that you have when you are registered with the secretariat. If it's so very first time, you have never been registered and you don't have any certificate or anything like that, you won't attach it as part of your proof of legal acquisition. Therefore, the provinces will not prioritize you at this stage. They will prioritize those who are registered, for them to quickly to be registered before we start the system in January, and to quickly assess the application. New applications are going to need inspections and all those things, and they won't be dealt with as quickly as that. Do you understand what I mean? So if you've never applied before, you currently don't have a registration, therefore you're not being migrated. You are making a new application. You require an inspection and all of that. That won't be done as quickly. It's only those that are already registered, they're just adding their species onto electronic permit system, that will be processed without inspection and will be processed quicker. I hope I'm making sense. So I am done. This is just to show you that as a province, if an official is not processing applications quick enough, the applications turn red this side or turn orange to highlight to him that you have not dealt with these certain applications. Okay, is everyone happy with that? So I see no hand. All right, so now you've seen how you should add a specimen onto your register. So I'm gonna log off. I want to show you how to release something from your register after you are registered. So I'm gonna go back as an applicant. So let's say you are registered, you've been approved, you've got your certificate, and then you have sold some birds or some parrots, or some parrots have died. You need to go back to your registration and update the status of your species under your inventory. You log in as an applicant and you're under department. And so this is what a non-commercial certificate will look like. It will have the DFFE CITES. They'll give you a new number now. It's an electronic number. You're not getting your old number for non-commercial. You get a new number.
Old number
Will fall
away.
off, yes. So you'll get a new number for all the non-commercial certificates. The only numbers that will remain the same will be the ones that come from Switzerland that we type in. The ZA numbers. And then this is a typical non-commercial certificate that you'll get on the system. It will have the new number, systems, and the details of the species that you've registered under. And please sign your permit. So this is someone that's already registered, right? And the person now you want to look at your inventory, you want to update it. So you come here by inventory and you look at your stock list and you view. Let's hope to Sammy can do it. Oh, you must insert, but you see, I cannot add things.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, I think.
So we will have a look and make sure that there's an add button here where you can yourself add a new thing here. And this will come up when you add. You can add a new enclosure, you can add when it's quiet and all that. So the bottom line is that every time you have something coming in and out of your facility, you must come back to your inventory. We will allow you to view and add the specimen, and you can come here by status and say it has been died, or it has been sold or donated. What we have discussed in the previous meeting is that as the breeder, you're the only one who will be allowed to indicate here whether something is sold or it has been it has died on the system under your inventory. But if something is exported, automatically the system will report it as exported, but not here on your status. It will be on another. When you look at your inventory, it will be here. Somewhere here that is exported. Andra, you're seeing what I'm saying, man. Look what I'm saying. Is that somewhere here, if it gets exported, it will be somewhere on the stock list to say that this one is exported. So if he looks at this species inventory, it's going to be a list of what is under all this inventory, and somewhere here to indicate that is
So
exported.
then you're going to see the status there.
Yes, not the status is one thing. That's what he updates. The other one will be.
Okay, so there's going to be the separate field.
Yes,
It's only ever going to just say if it was exported.
Yes. As under inventory, it will be. At the moment, you've got common name, scientific name, status, marking, details. Then we want a field that says status under inventory and a field that says export or blank. Exported.
But you go on the multi-row that you're looking at the dashboard now.
Yeah.
You're going to just see whether it was exported.
Yes. Status is what he has reported is there already. Sorry, you don't need that. It's only the
Okay.
additional row that indicate if it was exported or not. Nah? Okay. So we will add a button here that allows you to add something in your inventory, especially if you bought something from someone else.
As you breed.
Or as you breed, you can report what you're breeding. So when you log on to your profile, you will be able to add under your registration if you have new additions to make under your registration. So you don't have to. You have bred something, you update your inventory, they will be able to see it online, what you have updated, and come do those random inspections. Are we okay with that? Can someone raise a hand or to, okay, Michael and then Anthony in the room. So let's start with Michael online.
Just word of caution. The add button on an already registered or registration should only be a function for the registration in the CITES, commercial and non-commercial registration certificates. Because I see on the example Paul was working with, you shouldn't be able to add another rhino to a rhino permit without legal acquisition. I just think it should be a function as a word of caution to only the CITES registration certificates.
Yes, so maybe the example I use is a bit more difficult. So, but the point of the matter is that if you are registered for a CITES Appendix 1 breeding facilities for non-commercial purposes, you can add an incoming species as in your breeding facilities if you have bought something. So even if it was a black rhino, if he buys another black rhino in his facilities, he can add that species that he has added. And then for African greys, if you buy, you can add under inventory, indicate that it was purchased and then indicate the year of purchase and all that information that's required. So yes, it's only for non-commercial purposes in that particular application that I was dealing with. And it's a function that you can add to your registration. If you want to add another species, you must also go back there and add that species under the species list. Oh, but that's going to be in your application. Don't think about that. So this will be, you'll be adding your species inventory, not adding a species, not updating your registration. We need to talk about how we're going to deal with a new application after the effect. I don't think the system provides for it, but I must make my thought clear. Okay, Anthony?
I have a question regarding if the breeder add offspring to the inventory or report anything as dead or sold or purchased, does the province automatically get notified of changes to the inventory?
Yes, he's got a function on his side there that says inventory updates. So as soon as that, entry gets put in there that the inventory's been updated. You know that little inventory?
Yeah. So the province will know that the inventory was updated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even if a person buy a new black rhino, and then the province will see it needs a proof of legal acquisition to be uploaded for that specimen.
Yes.
The same with even African greys for commercial registered. If you buy new stock from other places, you have to upload a legal acquisition for those newly purchased breeding
It's
stock.
something that I didn't think about when we're doing the
Okay, it's not going to force you to have
It's
to do
not
that.
gonna force.
Yeah.
But you have to answer those questions when you update, because the province will have to come and you must prove that you legally acquired those specimens that you've added on the update.
But the province can go and check the species that you added and see what the attachments are that you added.
So when you add, remember when you add each species, let me come here. when you add each species to your register, it gives you that you can attach documents to it. So if you are adding a new species, you must attach those proof of legal acquisition, that proof of legal acquisition. Okay, any question on that, please? Any questions about the registration and editing, which at the moment we couldn't show you because it's not there yet, but that's how you will be able to go back to the system. Is there anything we discussed in the first session that we might have missed now? I need to remember. Yes, we had a long discussion about the status and whatever, how we want to use the endorsements. So that is not something that we can do now. So anyway, something that we're still going to think about, how we're going to deal with the endorsement and the permit that the species that are not endorsed. All right, I am kindly waiting for inputs into if there's any specific questions about how to edit your stock list, how to add a species or remove it in terms of status. I showed you that. And any question on that? There's a hand. Gert.
Paul, just maybe a question, maybe you're going to mention it later on, but if you can just give us a time frame of what we need to do now and by when, the registering and then the stock list. Just give us the timelines on what you would like us to do by when, please.
Okay, so the idea is that in November, we will make the system open for November and December until the system launches in January for processing of registrations only. Don't apply for your CITES permit there because the province are not going to consider that. You are going to be applying for registrations, especially those, in fact, for those who already have registrations. So you're going to log on, register yourself, and apply for registration that you currently have in your file somewhere in your house. Either you are registered as a captive breeding facility for commercial purposes or captive breeding facility for a non-commercial purposes. I'm open for registration for those for the 2 months, including January when the system goes online. The idea is to migrate you from your manual permit now, registration now, to the electronic one. So from November, we'll send an email out before we open it so that you know that you can start registering, and it's only for breeders, not exporters, and I'm not going to be inundated. So the breeders must register because they have to add those African greys on the system. And you saw how you add the species one by one, and I require them to start the process in November and December. What I will ask of the province is that to process your applications without a reassessment, is that they do not have to go check everything in your facility because you are already registered with them. So that's what they will do. They'll just press approve, 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 and then we give you an electronic registration certificate, and then you are able to apply for export permits, or your exporters are allowed to approach you, buy bids, get the certificate of origin, and then they can apply for export permits.
Great, thank you.
Yes. What else you can do from today is something that I'm going to repeat now is that you can go through to the system, to the e-services website. Where is that website? You can go through to this website and register yourself as an applicant, which is the process that I went through earlier on, which I'm going to do now for some official or people that might have joined in a bit late, is that you can go to this website now and register yourself here. And click on eservices.gov.za, and then you click on login and click on register. I'm going to go through this again because there's some people who missed this. When you click on register, you click on you confirm if you consent with the application and the terms of conditions. You can click here to read them both. That gives us obligations on both ends, your obligations and our obligations. And then it will give you this slide, which takes you through the registration process. Please note, if you are a government official that's going to be using the system, do not register here. You will be registered by us from internally on the system. But if you are a stakeholder or an applicant or a reading facility, you'll need to register here before you can are able to apply for that registration process. So you must register yourself in order for you to use the system. So here you'll put your name. You put your surname. You put your ID number or passport. And then you click next. You put your cell phone number. Very importantly, your cell phone number, you must put a number that you will be able to remember, not a number that you change every 2 weeks. So this number is going to help you to change passwords and all that. So you will need to put a number that will work. And then the email address, very same, is that it must be something that you remember and you are going to be able to reuse. You see, the cell phone number is not the same. Right. Okay, put in the town that you're from. You click next. You put the password. A very important step is that your password must have at least letters and numbers, one capital and one special character. Remember, when you're using your banking apps to have account numbers on the bank, you need certain security measures of your password. The same will apply here. You will need to have a special character, capital and number in order to create a password. Once you create the password and you submit, it will send you a verification process, which means it will send you an SMS or an email asking you to put in a code on the system that you have received by SMS. And once you have done that, your account is created. So that's the end of the process. Once your account is created, you can come back to the system here and log on with your account details that you have and the password that you have created. Nah? I hope that is clear. That's the first stage that the gentleman missed in the beginning at 1:30, is that we just wanted to show you how to register so that you are able to apply. Remember, your registration is linked to you as an individual. So when you register on the system, it is an ID number that identifies you on the system, and it's your application that you deal with on the process on the system.
Thank you,
So,
Paul. I've got it now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
this part that I just taking through now is actually open now. You can go and do it today. If you go to the www.eservices.gov.za, you are able to go through this. But as soon as you try and apply for a CITES permit, that won't work because the system is currently closed, and we will open it in November to take you through the registration. Before we do that, we're going to meet in October to talk about the changes that was made on the system so that people can see what the updates are on the system. Okay, I am waiting for hands and questions, whether on the process of registration or on the application itself. Anthony, it's got a question. Anthony in the room. Shoot.
You might want to explain to the people, those that want other people to assist them, that those people should create
A profile.
a profile
And
for
for
that
themselves.
person that is assisting.
Yes, so if
Please
you
explain that.
are super technologically smart, like most of you are here in this session, I can see you're not struggling. You will be asked by colleagues, neighbors, other breeders that might not know how to use the system for you to help them. Please help them, but make them create their own profile. So help them under their own profile, not under your profile. So your profile is for yourself, for your applications, and for your farm. But if you want to someone to register their own breeding facility on the system, and they need your help, so please use their details, use their email addresses and their own passwords, so that they don't use your application in order to process their registration. So please use their own login details, and they use their own name to actually register their facilities as part of the process. I hope that is clear and it could be helpful for those who are doing it. So non-commercial or commercial purposes, you will use that way. We will also be making a phone number available when we speak in August, where you can call for queries. Your number one port of query is always the province where you have your permits issued. So before you call me or PASA, you can ask your province for assistance with the system or clarity on how to help, and then it goes up like that. So you can, if the system actually gives you the phone numbers of the different provinces that you might need to contact, depending on which province you are. So can I go to the system quickly and show you? Contact us, and you click on CITES, and you have the map of the country, and then this is the national department and the numbers that you must contact. And if you're in Gauteng, you click on Gauteng, and these are the people in Gauteng that you must call. And if you're in Northwest, you click on the people that you must call. I see Basi is still here, and Basi is long retired. We need to update these things, but we will update it before we go live, so that we've got the new numbers here, and everyone, you can call them for questions about where is what. Né? If you are struggling with the system, and then if they are struggling to help you, it will escalate to national. If I'm failing to help you, it will escalate to the IT guys in this in DFFE that support the system, and then if we go to CETA until we solve the problem. So it will be that. We are not planning to go back to a paper-based system. We're planning to make this system work, and we hope that everyone can log in, register their facilities, and be able to apply for export permits online going forward. Any other questions? I'm almost at the end, if not at the end of my presentation. Any other questions about how to register first your facility, either a captive for commercial purpose or non-commercial, and how to add and edit your stock list as things come in and out? You just need to change the status from sold if you're selling to an exporter, or dead if it has died, or donated if you're trying to swap base with someone within the breeding industry. He must report as donated from his end. You must also report it donated as incoming as acquired. Is there any questions on that? I see Mariana. Mariana, you can unmute.
Hello. I just want
Yes,
to
ma'am.
know. I logged in a little bit late, so I just want to know what's the difference between commercial, non-commercial. The reason I'm asking is we are breeding and we are exporting. Do we register as non-commercial and commercial, or do we register as commercial and add as we breed?
So the question here is, what are you now? More than let me ask you, how are you currently registered? Where are you registered currently, and what is your certificate saying?
We are in the process of registering.
You have not registered yet?
No.
Okay, so you need your own session now, because you need to contact your province so that they can explain to you what kind of permit you require for what kind of registration. You are going to be the people that are going to be dealt with mostly next year, because currently we're going to be dealing with those who are currently registered. So yours is a new application, and you might need help to take you through what the requirements are. So I'm just warning you. It's not easy to do it without some kind of assistance from your province or from your PASA office or someone who's already registered. My advice is that you will need to explain what kind of exports you are doing, how big is your facility. So commercial speaks to those who are exporting for commercial purposes. That means the person who's buying it on the other side is going to resell that bed, then it becomes commercial. And if the person on the other side is a breeder, then the trade becomes non-commercial. So depending on what you're doing, but as I said, you might need actually to sit down with someone from your province and take them through what you're trying to register, and they will explain to you what kind of registrations you need. What is important is that you should not be selling your beds now to any exporter if you are not registered yourself.
CITES 1 birds.
Yes, CITES 1 base. This is about CITES 1 base. I'm not speaking about Appendix 2 here. It's only a CITES 1. So if you have an African Grace or any other CITES 1 base and you want to sell to someone who intends to export, you yourself should be registered before you can process. You can sell to anyone.
Okay.
So my advice, Mariana, is that speak to someone from your province and maybe get someone from PASA or someone that you know, Serija, just to explain to you how it works.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think we have now hit 2 sessions. Okay, a lot of questions. Now, fantastic. Let's start with Gert and then followed by Dolph and then followed by 3118258 guests. But anyway, let's start with Gert. Gert, shoot.
Sorry, Mpo, just a question on the recording, please, because we're going to need that from PASA's side just to support the people and maybe the people who attended, just to go back and refresh this what you've told us. So where and how can we get hold of the recording, and will it be the morning or the afternoon session? Thank you.
Thank you. So the recording is not morning or afternoon, is one big session, including the break. So if you go back to the link of this meeting,
Yes.
you will see the recording after the meeting is done. It stays there forever.
Okay, 100%.
You just go back to the link and go under chat. You'll see the link. The recording stays there. So I'm not going to even forward it to you. Just go back to the link of this meeting, and then you'll see the recording stays on the app or stays on the link that was provided.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you. Gert, you next.
That was her.
Oh, that was Gert. Okay, Gert is gone again. Okay. Guest number 3182. You don't have a name. You have a big number next to your name. So I just want you to say something. You've got your hand raised. Thank you.
Hello, it's Sam Paul.
Yes, Sam.
Hello, I just want to find out. So I tried to register on the e-portal in February after we had that other training session.
Yes.
And I got my email back to say they got my information and that. But now see if I try to log on, it's saying that the logon failed. So do I have to redo that whole register again with my information or not?
No. This is where you use that reset, forgot password or something.
Okay.
Or
Because
forgot username.
I had written all my details down of my username and my password, and when I put it in and that, it won't accept anything. So I just didn't want to double do it, and then there's some error because it's taking my information twice.
Okay, so Sam, what you do now is go back on the website, but you will click on forgot password or forgot username, and then it will send you on a different route to reset your password.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll give that a try.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Any other hand? So, I see something in the chat. In the chat, I have Anele. I see recording is set to expire. Organizer needs to change expiry dates to never. Oh, okay. I don't even know how to do that. About the recording. Thank you for letting us know. So I don't know how to do it. Anel, can you type for me? How do I do that? Maybe you can help me out. Let's go to, there was someone on the list of speakers. Okay, Lynette. Lynette? Lynette, please unmute.
Hi, sorry. I just want to find out, can you just tell me the process there now, why we are re-registering? So, because now the exporters, we send them the COO, they do the permit application, they get the permit, they do the export, they just come and collect. So now we're going to load our babies onto the electronic system, and then how's that going to work? We're still going to send the COO to the exporter, and then the process stays the same. I'm not sure I'm following how we're going to do it.
Okay, so Lynette, how it's going to work is that you still have the COO. The exporter he's responsible for the COO to upload it at the time that he's ready to apply for the export permit. So don't worry about that part.
Okay.
Your part is to worry about migrating. So this exercise is about migrating your registration from the manual system that we're currently using to an electronic one. So the main reason we're going through this pain is just so that in the future, when you apply or the exporter applies for export permit, he can apply online. We are not able to do it with the current manual system on an online system. So in order to do that, we need to register you again. Let's not call it a re-registration. It's a bad word. We just call it a migration. We're just moving you from a paper-based system into an electronic-based system. That's why we want your stock to go from the paper that is in your office or the Excel spreadsheet into an electronic system that is this one online. So yes, I understand that we have to redo, type them up and upload them, but the purpose of it all is that to assist that South Africa is moving to an online system. So the bigger picture is that the whole country is no longer going to be using manual system. We're all going to be using an electronic permit system, and we will need your birds or your parrots to also be on the system in order for the exporters to be able to apply for export permits, and in order for the management authorities to also be able to issue the export permits. It's not possible to do it from manual to electronic, and the only way to do it is to get you your breeding facilities also to be online and getting new certificates online. But remember, we are not going to assess you again. So if you're already registered, you're not going to be reassessed and re-inspected and anything. No, nothing like that. We just want your information in an electronic format. That's why you have to go online and add your information in an electronic format.
Okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, I'm going to load my new babies also onto the system as they get bred.
Yes.
And then from there, the exporters will do what they do.
Yes, the exporters will do what they do. All you do, you go to your spreadsheet after you load them. After he takes them and you sold them to him, he takes the 10 that you've sold. You just go on the system and click on your inventory and put the status under sold.
Sold or exported?
Sold.
Sold, okay.
Yeah. The exported is going to be done by the system itself. You just put sold.
Okay. Okay.
After you've sold it to him.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Michael has shown me something. So I must do what? Open details panel. No. Let's show them again. You can do it. Oh, you know how to do that. Oh, okay. All right. So Pindile in the meeting has indicated that we will take care of the worry about the expiration of the recording. She can deal with it later, but even now it's already valid for about a month currently or more, and then she will just make it never or whatever that's needed. I am going to try and see if I have any more hands. Any more hands? I'm not seeing any hands. Lynette, I think you already covered, unless it's another hand, but I think it's an old hand. Gert, your hand is up again, Gert.
Sorry, Mpo, this is the last one, but I'd just like to thank you from our side and PASA side for the information. And I'm sure we'll be able to manage, but thank you for your support and the detailed briefing today. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I must thank you guys because I'm the one who's giving you a lot of work to do here. Thank you for the patience and understanding. As I said, it's a bit of a rough start, but all in an effort to get South Africa in a better place in terms of permitting and getting us in a better place to ensure that your permits can be issued quicker. So at the end, this kind of things in the long run is beneficial for everyone. And all our African grays will be in one, not African grays, all our Appendix 1 species will be in a spreadsheet somewhere where if we are ever asked how many African Appendix 1 species are you trading in your country, they registered, we can simply at the click of a button, not have to call everyone like looking for information. We can know that ourselves from our end. So we would like to thank you, and we hope we can just go through this rough little few months to get everyone online, and hope everything goes smoothly next year with the implementation of this and the launch of the system. And let's start issuing permits in a smarter, faster way, and hopefully to cut the time for processing permits and because now people can issue permits from anywhere they are. They don't have to wait to be in the office to issue permits. So it will help a lot in that regard. We will see each other again in October. Hopefully by then all our changes will be updated on the system, Sandra. And then people can see how to apply for CITES export permits. They will see and I would have fixed some of the things that we spoke about today in terms of your registration and the ring numbers will be corrected and not have any errors, and we don't have any challenges in regard to that. So we hope truly that we'll be ready by November for the launch. But before we open in November for you guys only, we will let you know that we're ready to open for you. And I must make sure that all my processes are loaded and they're able to process and everything is ready by then. So it's a lot of work for us in the background to do before then. And unfortunately, the site is here too, so yeah. But we'll see what we can do in the time that we're given. But at the 1st of January, we must go online. Because if we miss the 1st of January, that means the 1st of January the other year, 2024, which is not going to be a happy thing to happen to anyone. So we have no choice but to push very hard to get these things done this year. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we will see you in October sometime. And I think the date will be provided and the link. I think it's October the 12th, somewhere there. It's an online meeting, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll try and create a bigger space for more people to come in the boardroom, the big boardroom, because this is going to be everyone. So it's going to be an online meeting, but I'm saying maybe we must think about having a space for people that want to come physically, because I know that we might have that kind of request. Otherwise, thank you everyone, and thank you to PASA for supporting us and coming here and being here and taking out. Thank you, Anthony, for the efforts and the time. Thank you, Sandra, for being here to listen to the session and the challenges that we might need to add. And we will see you guys on the 12th of October, online or physically in Pretoria where possible. Thank you and goodbye.
Okay.